Hey, welcome in everyone. Hope everyone is having an amazing Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Titan Talk. Isiah, Killgoon here as usual, but we brought in some of the big guns from the Titan Forge team. We've got Ajax joining us. It's been a while since you've been on the show. How you doing, man?
We've just been busy on gods, so I haven't had too much time to talk.
Yeah.
For a long time, it felt like all I did was talk, but now we're just working away. So, it worked out well that we just finished our last round of gods, and it was a good time to take a break and come chat with y'all.
Absolutely.
Chat with the community. So it's good to be here.
Well, I know we've been paying attention to chat. People are really excited about Nemesis, Khepri, Izanami. We're going to be going over all three of those in game because they're going to be coming in the next SMITE 2 update, which is super exciting. But before we get into that, we got some bug fixes from the past couple patches that have gone out over the past, 24 hours-ish? We patched so much, it's hard to keep track.
Since our last show, at least. So since Monday afternoon.
Cool. Well, I'm going to bring up the handy-dandy laptop here. This is a patch from yesterday with some bug fixes. We fixed an issue where Baron's Brew couldn't be sold. We fixed Danzaburo being invisible if he was polymorphed right after turning into a leaf from his 3. We fixed Fenrir brutalized following knee through a backflip. Fixed inaccuracies with Fenrir ultimate targeting. We fixed Ra being unable to use its ultimate in some parts of the Conquest map. We added some stability improvements. We fixed broken achievements and trophies, which was a big one. We had a lot of people come and chat and ask about that, which is really exciting. And then last for this patch, we addressed an ultimate issue with Fenrir where he was unable to bite if he missed the first bite in his ultimate.
Yeah, that was kind of a new bug that appeared when we fixed his zero delay bite. Insta bite. So pretty quickly we were able to get that fixed.
Yeah.
A surprisingly complicated ability.
Yeah.
Although maybe not that surprising. Maybe people would understand that. There's a lot going on in the background on that one.
Cool. And then this patch went live late last night, but wasn't able to get the patch and stuff until this morning in Steam. But a couple bug fixes here. Surrender rules. There were some issues with them not being at parity with SMITE 1. So that should be now good to go in SMITE 2. If you're in a 5-player team, 4-1 surrenders, 3-0 surrenders on the vote of the timeout. If the surrender vote times out and 2 players don't vote. And then 3-1 also surrenders on vote timeout if the last person doesn't vote. If there's a DC, 3-1 surrenders, and then 2-2 surrender doesn't go through. And then if there are 2 DCs, 2 votes will do a surrender.
Yep, exactly the same as the SMITE 1 rules.
Yep. And then for some bug fixes for this latest patch, we addressed a lot of issues with waiting on players, getting stuck in a state to where you were just seeing waiting on players trying to join a match forever. So that should be fixed up. Added some more visual feedback when you're in that kind of state, just to kind of let you know that, hey, we're waiting on people to join the queue. You're not just waiting on players forever, just to make it a little bit more clear whenever you're trying to join a match.
Yeah, I think usually what happens in those situations where you kind of get stuck is the way the matchmaker works, as I understand it, is if somebody disconnects from matchmaking or is unable to be placed into the match, the matchmaker will then keep the rest of the party intact briefly and look for another person to fill that party before it abandons the match entirely. So generally what was happening where people were getting stuck in that state and there was no visual feedback telling you that that was happening. So hopefully there's just better visual feedback now, and also that state shouldn't arise as often.
Yeah. Right. Another big one next up, we fixed Baron's Brew projectile hit radius from going outside of its intended area.
Yeah, and shout out to the Twitch chat for bringing that one up. I brought that up to Pawn after the last show because it was something that Chad had been asking about. And he was like, I fixed that already. What do you mean that's not fixed? And it turned out that the fix just hadn't gotten integrated into the build properly. There was a minor bug with the integration that he missed. Yeah. But he was able to get that in, and we were able to get it fixed. So thank you all for bringing it up.
Yep. We fixed an issue where if you were aiming inside of a wall, you were unable to drink Baron's Brew. Which is a big one.
That's a weird one. Yeah. I didn't even realize that was one fixed.
Yeah, we've corrected Aegis self-silence to be 1.5 seconds. We fixed the Mint Chaco Ymir VGS lines being swapped for VA2 and 3. We fixed Kakademon Ymir 2 VGS not working. Still working on fixing jokes, taunts, and laughs for that skin, but that is in progress. And then last but not least, we fixed a noise playing whenever spectator swaps between players. So.
Nice.
Seems good.
We got more bugs coming because I know I've been working on a few good bug fixes with the ambassadors recently that'll be queued up for a future hotfix or bigger patch.
Absolutely. Well, those were our couple big patch kind of overviews. Are you all ready to go in game and start showing off some of the characters that are going to be coming to SMITE 2 next week?
Absolutely.
And so we're going to be showing off these 3 characters. We're going to be showing off Izanami, Khepri, and why am I blanking out? Who's the last one?
Nemesis.
Nemesis. Yeah, Nemesis. Sorry, I was thinking about the next round of gods. So we're going to be showing off those 3 characters, and then we'll take Q&A like we always do. So while we're showing off the gods, try and keep your questions focused on the gods and what you're seeing if you want us to respond, and then we will get to the other Q&A afterwards.
Cool. Well, I will bring us in game here. Give me just a second. I've got to pull up the laptop. Chat should see that, and then I've got to unmute audio, so chat should get audio here. We should get audio as well. We're good.
I hear it.
This is Izanami, and AJ's got all the notes here to talk about Izanami and all of her +1s and new features and stuff like that in SMITE 2.
I do. Yeah, we have a lot of quality of life features and stuff for all of these characters. So let's see. We'll just go through the go through them in order.
Spawn a couple bots here. All right.
Cool. We can look at the abilities. You do the kit demo. You just fire them all off.
Yeah, let's do it.
Fire them all off.
Looking good.
Yeah, Izanami is a really fun character. Very strong character with a unique wave clear, which is going to be definitely a balance challenge. In our early testing, she was really strong. She got a lot of adjustments before launch. She's feeling more fair now, but she just does something that's kind of like, she's one of those later stage Smite gods where intentionally breaking the rules on the characters, right?
Yep.
So she has always just been a crazy lane pusher. It's made her an extremely popular character, though. Yeah, chat's noticing updated ability icons. A lot of our gods are getting updated ability icons. Some of them right away at their launch. Some take a little bit longer, but these have definitely been updated. We have some quality of life change to the way the passive stacks work. They won't decrease if damage was taken recently, which her passive is the, let's see. That's the one. Gain physical penetration and intelligence for each 1% max health taking this damage. So the lower... If you take damage, it'll keep the stacks. Stack count cannot drop below the percentage each stack. Yeah. So she gets stronger at low health. There we go. AO1 bonus damage is now a stacking bleed.
Yes,
instead
this is
of
one
just
of the
bonus
bigger
damage.
changes.
Yeah, this is a big one. So you can stack this up and it also has intelligence scaling. So we're kind of going to see that in a few places across the kit, supporting a potential Isa mid playstyle or more ability-based Isa.
So yeah, the stacking bleed, I guess, would make her a little bit less bursty, giving you a little bit of a chance to counterplay against her when she's using her one.
Yeah, I guess so. The number tuning matters a lot here, so any future adjustments could adjust that. But the way it seems like the intent is that just hitting one of those is going to deal less bonus damage than it would have in Smite 1. But if you hit multiple in a row, that's going to compound, and it's going to deal more damage per tick while refreshing the duration. So you're going to get this like heavier and heavier hit. And I've definitely felt that in playtesting. Like if Isa gets right on top of you, if you're trying to, I play support a lot, so if I'm just trying to body block out an Isa for a long time and she pops this stim and just starts hitting like 100% accuracy on you, you get shredded real fast. It really starts to stack up, but it's harder for her to pull that off against longer range DPS characters, other mages and carries poking her back. But if you really get that perfect accuracy during the stim, it pays off big time.
Yeah, rewarding good play a little bit more than the oldest Izanami did, I guess.
And so one of the other big changes was that the AO1 and AO2 can be fired from her stealth state. Can you test that for me?
Let's see here.
So you activate it, and you do not... I think that was timed with the duration.
Yeah.
Do it again. Do it again with the 1. Okay, it breaks you out of stealth on the 1. But maybe you had to cancel it first.
Yeah,
no,
maybe. One second.
The 2 definitely worked. The 2... That took you out of stealth. Yeah. So it says can be used in stealth. I'll have to check with Ro on what he meant with that note.
But it's very cool that I can now
the 3-2
stealth in.
That worked, and you didn't.
And I'm still invisible.
Yeah. You're still stealthed. Now that is just like very ghostly too, right? It's like this ghost just comes out and you don't even know
You're
where.
like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Well, and because of the projectile on that too, you know exactly where she is when she fires it.
Right.
Because, you know, it has such a big tell on it. So you could still use it to help locate her.
A lot of the time, you're like tracking Izanami pretty closely, like the way that leap is telegraphed and the particle effects. Like a lot of times, you are following her pretty closely. But this lets her do some pretty cool like gank play patterns. The AO3 has bonus movement speed while in stealth.
Yeah, I was about to say, she seemed like she was zooming.
So she's got a little extra movement speed while in stealth, giving her a little bit additional safety. And the AO4 applies a fading slow that starts like a really strong slow and then drops off over time. Is also now a damage over time ability and also scales off int. So you can do like true nuke. We've had nice part. I was going to say I really noticed the particle effects there on a lot of the abilities. One of the challenges with Smite 1 Izanami was a lot of like reds and blacks used everywhere. So red is just inherently looks enemy, and black does not really stand out, and it can be hard to see. So there's kind of a little bit more accent of this sort of gold yellow that still it feels very like underworldly. It doesn't really feel fiery. It's kind of but it accents the abilities and makes them a lot more visible, I think, especially in a crowded team fight.
Yeah, so it seems like we leaned more into the stealthy, ghostly kind of aspect of her, and then also the bleed aspect of kind of death.
Yeah, I would say so. As far as the character goes as a whole, you've got the intelligence scaling, which is one big shift from Smite 1 to Smite 2. So you can still play full carry Izanami. That'll be good. Nothing really got taken away there, but there's also just some new opportunities to build like a bursty nuke. Izanami. We've got the being able to fire the AO2 and remain stealth, which is just a really kind of that's like not something we do in very many cases. When you're stealthed, we reveal you, but from most gods. And then we have the different bleed mechanics stacked on top of that. So those are kind of the three big functional changes. Outside of the just the general cleanup we do when we're moving over a god. So, in general, we would say that, timings, areas, all those things are meant to be exactly the same as Smite 1 parity. We've also, I'm not sure how much this has been shouted out, but we've been starting to do our ambassador NDA tests. So we actually have, we use the ambassador channel to find who are the biggest mains of these gods and get them to come play them early before we finish them, so we can make sure we don't miss any, like, there's some really narrow features or some specific things, quality of life things that we always want to check out. And they've been super helpful. I mean, I just had a great test with some Khepri players, so we'll talk about him soon. But
cool. Izanami's looking good.
Yeah. No, lots of Izanami mains. Super excited for her in Smite 2. So.
I know that chat and Reddit are maybe slightly less excited for Izanami than the other two gods we're showing today, but definitely a very popular goddess and a good addition to the roster.
I still think there's mathematical proof that Izanami is one of the most popular gods in the game, but also one of the ones that the highly engaged vocal communities are not as interested in.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the overlap there just doesn't exist. So it's still a generally very popular goddess, though.
Run from me.
We can just remove Izanami from the game.
Oh,
Says chat. Yeah.
No, don't.
No, I mean, Izanami got a tier 5. If that tells you how popular and successful
yes.
we know she can be, that's a pretty good indicator right there.
One of the more successful tier 5.
Yeah, it was a really good one.
All right. Well, that is Isa. Y'all ready for the next character?
Yep. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
I'm going to bring us back to cams really quick so I don't spoil.
Anything else we didn't mention about Izanami? If it's in Smite 1, we should have it in Smite 2. So if you feel like it's missing or anything, just let us know. I won't be able to list off every feature she's had. The Hug Bug, the big boy,
Hug Bug.
everyone's favorite.
Yes.
All right. I am bringing us back. We are in here.
Well, everybody
He's
loves
so
Khepri.
shiny.
He's shiny, and he's big.
He is.
He is the largest collision box in Smite 2 now. Eventually, a few gods caught up to him in Smite 1 and tied his size. I don't think we ever made anyone bigger than Khepri sized. But now we have Khepri in Smite 2, and he's big.
Get my abilities here. Send me level 20.
And he looks real good in the new engine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got so much metallic and materials and
He
stuff
looks
like that
so
too,
good.
that he looks, yeah. You can see those reflections. Yeah, even from the, there you go.
Showing off the new features already.
They're just going to be apparent, but if we want to go through the kit line by line or with the bonus effects, the passive is essentially unchanged. Pulses out the shield. It speeds up when you're out of combat and slows down when you've dealt damage or taken damage. It's the same as it was in Smite 1. But a lot of people forget about that speed up slowdown mechanic of it, so like a lot of people were like thinking that's a +1, but no, that was in Smite 1 as well. The AO1 has like, let's see, it's kind of got a few features. One that's really noticeable is the turn radius is a lot faster or higher radius, so when you pull a Ymir, you'll have more control over them. Yeah, everyone's asking about the blink. That is just an updated blink icon for combat blink. It's just because that was one of the oldest temp icons. It was using like Smite 1 closed beta art. We updated it, so that is just blink. No gameplay changes, just art changes.
It feels like you can really like pull somebody around a corner now.
Like if you go grab one of the Emirs in the middle and then just like try to turn the whole time you're pulling, yeah, like that. You couldn't do that in Smite 1. It was pretty much straight back.
So
there was a little bit of wiggle room, but now it's a lot faster. So we can adjust that radius, essentially just a balance change. We can tighten up that radius if we want to, if we need to. We think in most cases it's just going to feel better all around. But if for any reason it's like wildly OP, or if it could be a situation if he is really good and competitive but not so good everywhere else, that could be a change that might more disproportionately affect competitive players as opposed to your general audience. The other feature with the AO1 is really just a quality of life, but what you're gonna have to do is grab someone.
An ally bot? Do you need to spawn an ally bot?
You can target yourself, but I guess it will be a little easier to see if you don't need another bot. But as soon as you pull the Ymir, press your ultimate targeter.
Okay,
but don't fire it. So you can aim this while you're currently still channeling the CC. So you can, and then you can quick fire to instant cancel to go right from grabbing to ulting someone. In Smite 1, you would have had to manually cancel and then re-aim and then fire, so you lose a bit of time. You'd either have to... In this case, you can have it primed and prepped always. Khepri mains know they got to have their finger on the button because you don't want to do it too soon, but we all know how bad it feels if you miss it.
Yes.
Right.
If you had it and you're waiting and you still miss it, that feels really bad. So this one was the only ability that would lock you out of that. Now it doesn't. Now you can always fire it. And aim it.
I have had so many times in arena where I'm playing Khepri and I'm trying to save one person and I'm pulling him away, and then I see the other person dying over there. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm in the middle of pulling. I can't ult you.
Can't do it.
Khepri was one of my mains for a long time. I think he's still might be my highest win rate diamond god in Smite 1. Love Khepri. So yeah, that's a really fun quality of life feature. So let's see, ability 2. So ability 2 would have the more obvious new feature here, where it now has a delayed detonate area at the end of the projectile, and that will do the same effects that the projectile does. Now the fun twist on that is now, since there is a delayed explosion effect, you can run into it, and Khepri can actually buff himself with it for the first time in Smite history. He was never able to do that before. He cannot buff himself from hitting the projectile. That spawns essentially inside him, so it would either trigger every time or we'd have to put some special code to avoid that. But if you walk into the deployable, you can buff yourself, and this just gives you a better chance of hitting your whole team in a larger, or like if you throw this on like a Gold Fury fight where everybody's there, this ability, it's a relatively short duration effect, only 3 seconds, but it's very potent.
Strong.
Yeah, so it's a really cool type of
the VFX too. Really nice treatment on that.
Yeah, Khepri had a lot of updated VFX. The orb rolling and that kind of like extra outer circle it has to better convey the true hit area is really nice, and then there's the delay into the explode.
Chat says it's a solo Khepri ability. I don't know if solo Khepri is ever going to be a thing, but
there was some early requests for us to like give him more int scaling, so he could be a bruiser. As of now, that has not happened. He's still a little bit low as far as the damage scaling goes. He's going to be focused towards a support role, but you could probably play it from solo. There's probably ways to do it.
The ability icons look great too.
Yes, those were all updated as well. The AO3, the root, this one, no changes. This one is just straight up what you'd expect from Smite 1. It's a ranged root. That is it.
Seems reasonable.
Yep, it works.
It does the things.
Yep, it looks good. It works. There you go. So then the ultimate does have a few additional bonus features that it didn't have in Smite 1. So we brought back the essentially the power buff on it. So if you cast this on an ally, they're going to get movement speed. They're going to get the resurrection shield, and they're also going to gain some int and strength. So they're going to be a little bit more threatening of an enemy while they're buffed.
So the new thing is int and strength as well.
Int and strength is the new thing. Yeah, that was not on. Oh, did I put this in the wrong place? I edited it. I wrote that twice. I'm just checking my notes, and I think I accidentally edited over one note. But yeah, the int and strength is the new feature. The other new feature is, and this one might be a little harder. I mean, I can tell you, you don't have dev commands. You're just using jungle practice commands.
Yeah, just jungle practice, yeah.
But the other feature is when you you can test it on yourself if you just go run into tower. When you successfully resurrect someone, either yourself or an ally. Oh no, your minions are too busy winning.
Oh no, I know.
When you successfully resurrect someone or yourself, you will get a permanent stacking buff with uncapped stacks and duration that kind of functions as a way to just track how many successful reses you've had. And also, so it gave you 2 stacks there. That's interesting.
Well, I revived this Emir.
Oh, okay, so there's your second stack. Now you've got 2 stacks. And it also gives you a little bit of protections. Right now it's literally 2 physical and 2 magical procs per stack.
So not a lot.
Not a lot. It's not. I didn't want it to be too intense, too fast, and then it would have to drop off, or it would have to have a cap. The idea is like it's a smaller thing that you can really build up incrementally if you're consistently successful with this. And it can be a fun just like tracker for you to track. His tracker is also successful reses that'll track you across your account across all Khepri games. But this one is per this match. You can tell you've had 2 successful revives, and you'll get a little bit of stacking prots. And since you can start this from level 5 all the way through however long the game is, every X seconds, and we didn't want to incentivize hyper Khepri cooldown builds and killing yourself to towers to get a bunch of quick protections early, so it's just relatively small. So by the end of the game, maybe you have a tier 2 item worth of protections from this, and that's not nothing.
Yeah,
adds up.
And this god is like strong, historically very strong, all the time as well.
Yeah.
So everything else about Khepri should be ported from Smite 1. Executes will still override Khepri Ultimate.
That's a good note.
So Thanatos, when
Sobek?
Khepri and Sobek, we've introduced, and we were very cognizant about that. Like Sobek now can also counter Khepri in a way that he never could before. So if you see Khepri's just running the Qs in the flash test or whatever, it might be a good idea to pick Thanatos or Sobek into him.
Can you? Chad is asking if you can blink while pulling.
Let's see.
I believe we
No.
don't let you blink during any sort of channeled grab like that.
Okay.
Well, you're on cooldown now, but you couldn't the first time. Yeah, you cannot blink while... Is there anyone else that does do that?
I can't think of anybody.
We've had some bugs with those types of things, so... Grabs. Does Fenrir let you blink while holding someone still? I think we allowed that at some point, but maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I don't know if it does. Fenrir alt can blink. Okay. They're very different abilities as much as they might be similar. The fact that Khepri is kind of dragging and pulling them and has this like specific momentum versus Fenrir, which is full control. But I guess if it doesn't cause any bugs, we could consider that.
Look into it.
Well, there's one bug right there.
Yeah,
Right?
there's
There's a big bug on the screen
in
right
this
now,
patch.
Cool. Well, anything else on Khepri before we move on to Nemesis?
I think that's it. We're not showing any of the out-of-game stuff today for the gods.
We can go over Ascension Pass stuff
Okay.
a little bit later.
Well, Khepri has a fantastic Ascension Pass
Nice,
emote.
cool.
And other cosmetics, of course.
Nice.
But no, we can move on to Nemesis.
All right, I am moving on. We're on cams. Give me just a second to pull up Nemesis.
Oh yeah, I see people mentioning about Khepri CC. He does. He actually didn't get any CC duration reductions from Smite 2 to Smite 1, which a lot of gods did. But Khepri being so hyper support focused, we kept those for now, but that'll definitely be another balance knob we look to turn. And the grab especially is like very muscle memory driven, so we were worried about decreasing that and it feeling really strange. So the root duration will be a good place to nerf if we need to. The turn radius will be a good place to nerf if we need to.
All right.
Nemesis just looks so good, man. This model turned out great.
No, you can't get double hit with the Khepri buff, by the way. That doesn't stack in any way. It can just refresh. Okay, we're on to Nemesis now. She had a bigger model update than either of the other two gods. So you can see, you know, just from here, the textures, like, very different. You can really see the leather and the cloth stand out a lot more clearly. She's had some specific clothing adjustments to the details across her armor. And effects updates just like everyone else has had.
Yeah, one of the bigger animation changes for her. So for I think every god that we're bringing over, we had to do upper body, lower body stuff. So and in Smite 1, when Nemesis is attacking, her feet just don't move. They're locked in with the animation. And now she can full 8-way run while attacking, which
a lot of old Smite gods slide really bad like that. Yeah.
So it's like her normal walk, but with the ability to do that while attacking.
And pretty much every god in Smite 1 did that type of thing, just some were a lot more noticeable than others. It just depends on the animation, the god type, the attack chain. Some, like, just, it looks really obvious on some, and in others you really don't notice it. Also, that's why we love, one of the reasons why we love floating gods. Yeah. Floating gods are just so much easier.
Yeah,
you can do so much stuff with it. Like, you can just be really flexible with the animation.
Cool. All right. Well, you ready to get into some of the new features, +1s, quality of life stuff for Nem?
Yeah, definitely. I'm pulling up the notes right now.
Let's do it.
That Lermy has prepared for Nemesis. We have, so let's see. She's going to be hybrid scaling as well now. She's going to have intelligence in the kit. And a lot of the things that would normally like just steal physical power are now going to steal both.
Yes, Lermy did mention that she's going to be super versatile, lots of different scaling types.
So there's int scaling damage there. Yeah, so this can be, you could really build her really flexibly, which we haven't done really on an assassin yet, a jungler.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of warriors and soul laners fit that really well, but this is kind of the first one like this. I think it fits her really well. So the passive is now going to steal in-hand power, strength, and int when she hits enemies. And in-hand power, strength, and int kind of double dips even on basic attacking, so she's even a little bit more of like a anti-carry character.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Between the shield was already pretty good for that too, so she's indexing a little bit more into that, you know, phase of really being able to jump on the enemy carry. The AO1 we have no notes for, so that was unchanged. A lot of careful consideration put into this ability, though, and making the feel and the timing, the refiring as smooth as possible, making sure... Can you just fire it once for me? So it does not default to the targeter up, which that was a big back and forth, and we were kind of inconsistent on Smite 1. Some gods would default to the refire targeter up, which we would do essentially to... you know, help players understand that you can fire this again.
Right, yeah.
It was more obvious to that, but, you know, everybody kind of knows what they're doing now, and this is much better to default to the idle state as far as mixing it up with different abilities in between the dashes or basic attack canceling.
Right.
So this is the more, you know, preferred method for most experienced players. I think at one point, Nemesis was defaulting to the dash mode, although like I said, even in Smite 1 it's been adjusted many times. At one point there was different rules for console and PC on different gods. Susanoo had different rules than Xingqian, and I think it was Xingqian was the one who always defaulted to leaping again.
Right, yeah.
And maybe Nemesis and Susanoo didn't, but either way we're trying to do them all like this. So that's just kind of a fun fact about the AO1. Ability 2, the center hit cone has been adjusted, what we call a pullback cone. So you can see it doesn't really end in a super fine point right at Nemesis. This is something we started doing in Smite 1 as well. When our cones just met at a super fine point, you would get these like really narrow points where you would miss someone, even though it seems like it's crazy to consider that a miss. Yeah. So imagine if the point of the cone actually ends up somewhere behind Nemesis, but that's not hittable area. And we keep the range the same at the front of the cone. So instead you get a sort of curved trapezoid actual hit area shape, but it just results in making the ability feel better and making it more likely to fit the art of what you expected to hit or not.
Right, yeah, especially for characters like Nemesis who like want to stay on top of you. There were definitely some cases in Smite 1 to where it felt like, I feel like I should have hit that center of the two. But it should be a lot more consistent in Smite 2.
Yeah. This one, it shows you that bonus targeter if they're in the, is it in the bonus area or just in any area?
Yeah.
No,
it's in the
yeah,
bonus
if they're
area.
in the bonus area, you can see with that extra element. Yeah. Which that's really nice. Ability 3, the shield. Let's see. This one's a little bit mathematical, but
Yes.
it is unique.
Lots
still.
of stuff
So
with the shield. I'll pull up the.
this
the
is
tooltip.
another like smaller quality of life update. I'd say her true +1 is on her ultimate, but this now calculates the reflect and heal from pre-mitigation damage. So she's going to generally reflect and heal more. Or if you build super tanky Nem, it's still going to be equivalently powerful.
Interesting.
So even like building protections or health might even be better on Nem. We had a lot of people that were like calling back to the days of solo Nem was a meta back in early Smite, like I'd say probably, season 2-3 era, and wanted to see.
Can you
Just
hear
a
us?
blip.
We lost audio for a couple seconds, but I think we're back. Chat.
Yes.
Oop, muted.
Are we back though?
Well, they might be a little delayed.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're
Okay.
back.
Okay.
back.
We're
We're
so back. Yeah. Small little blip.
So
but
yeah,
we're
the
back.
pre-mitigation damage, the shields, and now the shield size scales with health. Oh, this is interesting. The shield's health scales with her health. The reflect damage scales with strength, and the heal scales with int. So 3 different unique components with 3 different unique scalings. That's really unique even for Smite 2. We haven't quite done it quite like that, which I think is it's cool. That's just a cool like pattern to have on an ability.
It seems like it enables more of a solo Nemesis or maybe even a support Nemesis build, I guess.
We have this int damage build too, though, so you might have this like sort of ability burst build, and then also you get that self-preservation of like a big heal during your shield. So if you shield at low health,
can't hear game audio. 1 second.
you take
chat.
a bunch of damage.
Let me pull us
and heal
back
back
to
up.
cams. Boom, boom. I think we just had a small blip here. Unmute. Boom. And we should be back. How's that, chat?
Let's see. They
Nope.
still say
Nope.
no.
Mm.
I'm not sure if
Might
we
have
have
hit
any
some-
options besides restarting or no game audio. Or
I think we may just have
we're
to run
almost
with
done
that.
with
Yeah,
the
we're
in-game
almost-
phase anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna miss that iconic Nemesis
Yeah.
ultimate sound, but we're pretty much done with the rest. The shield is still canceled on CC. Like I said, if I didn't mention it, it should be the same as Smite 1, unless explicitly mentioned, or it would be considered a bug. In that case, it got missed. Some characters have really deep hidden features, but the Nem shield being canceled by CC, we definitely discussed. I think we even tested it for a bit where it couldn't be removed by CC.
Right.
It was just very strong and frustrating. There felt like there was no counter. But that was the case. All right, the ultimate. This is the actual +1. So Nem ultimate, you still gotta aim and lock onto a single god. It's gonna deal some base damage. It's gonna deal percent health damage. It's going to reduce their protections and steal it, and it's gonna slow them. But your mirrors might be a little too far away from each other. You might need to spawn another one.
Yeah, hold on. I got it. Boom, boom. All right.
But this ability is now AoE. It is AoE designed around the size of the god. So it's the same size as the target. It's a relatively small AoE. And it does the AoE. I believe it's off of the center god hit, not the targeter change. You could try it. That hit both. Now, aim more to the left, but hit that same Ymir.
Gotcha.
So your targeter's not touching anyone else, but still hit that first Ymir when we get this. Not having dev cooldowns is such a weird experience for me.
Yeah.
Still hit. So it's going to be based off of the radius from the single target hit.
Yeah.
So, this was always been, like a kill this person specifically type of ability. But now if your enemy team is really grouped up you do something to pull them together. Ares, post Ares type of combo type of play styles, or just good CC or other type of choke points, you can get really meaningful Nem ultimates that are going to target multiple people.
And Lermy in chat says that it has damage scaling too, so can potentially do a lot of damage.
It does just have like actual base damage scaling now. It's not just current health. So it's current health plus, so no base damage. I said damage, but I wasn't very specific at the beginning. So you can just kill someone with this now if you buy high strength or int, because it will just do some damage. If you're building no strength and int, I guess it won't. You'll just be doing the current health. But you get the current health damage as well as the strength and int damage. So that's a couple things that we've done a few times where things that are just impossible to kill someone with that are just percent health or percent current health are just kind of frustrating, or can be really lackluster, because a lot of times you'll have a close fight and you'll use your ult to like secure a kill. Now Nem can do that.
Yeah. And can you miss the ult? Can you just like click and whiff it?
No.
Nope. You still okay.
Same rules, yeah. It's a lock on. It requires a legal target to be fired. And yeah, all three gods launching simultaneously. Is that the first triple god?
This is our first triple god
update
in SMITE history.
We told you we were working on them.
Y'all are cooking, putting in so much work.
I believe, yeah, we're going to have, the next one's going to also be a triple god. So we're going to have triple gods back to back.
So this update is going to go live next week, is the current plan. I believe probably Tuesday, it could be Monday, it could be Wednesday. Things are a little flexible.
Right.
But next week, we're expecting for it to hit live servers. If you want to try it out today, I believe that we're planning to do a flash test later today.
I did see a note.
So check out the SMITE Discord is the best place to find out when we're going to do flash tests. And we also have a new feature in-game that is going to be revealed when we do our flash test.
That's right.
So we might as well just say it now. So in the God screen now, we're going to show the next set of gods that's coming out and what date that we're expecting that they're going to come out. Yep. Because we want people to know, hey, log back in on this date because you're going to see these new gods. So the next three gods are going to be, do you want to take one?
I'll take one. Thor.
Yes.
AJ's like, I'm working on.
Do you know who they are?
I don't remember.
Cupid.
Yeah,
we're working on so many all at once. I'm like, I keep getting mixed up with, and the work order is different than the release order in some cases.
Yeah. And
Thor, Cupid, and
Poseidon.
Hey.
So Thor, Cupid, and Poseidon.
That's a banger update.
That's
right?
Banger update. 2 weeks after this next update. Yes. So in 3 weeks from now or so. So definitely exciting. We're keeping the God pace coming. And hopefully y'all are feeling it.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, I've got Izanami's Ascension Pass screen up. We can go over that really quick. Shadow skin for Izanami here. It's her buy-in. And then, of course, the tracker at the very beginning is total time spent with 50 stacks of Death Draws Nigh. So it's a passive. That's an interesting tracker.
Yeah.
You got your classic clap here. Then, of course, you've got your number of objectives. Then the number of God kills you've assisted with. Then her second unique tracker is enemies damaged by both the throw and the return of a single basic attack. So that's a good one.
That's a number that could go up
really
yeah,
high.
it's going to go. Yeah, well.
All right, and then we've got her heroic Onyx skin here.
I like it.
And then we'll move on to Opal. Looks great.
I still love the Opal.
Yeah, they look really cool. This one's really nice.
And then her global emote.
That one's sick.
It's really
really
cool.
good.
Yeah, we're really trying to get the horror element to show through here.
I don't know about the name of that. Rancid Vibes.
That is an interesting name. But you are just it's a very like creepy horror themed type of taunt or like show of bravado, I guess.
Then
Dead
matron title. Then you've got your God kills. And of course, you've got your
That's an interesting title too.
mastery. And then the radiant skin.
Sorry, just reading chat, laughing to myself.
And
sometimes.
you've got your
That looks temp.
That
this
does
is
look
yeah, this
yes.
does
Or maybe a
look-
mix up.
looks
Some of them
temp, yeah.
some of these come in last minute. That looks like Khepri or someone else.
Yeah,
Or
that looks like Khepri.
possibly.
or
yeah.
maybe someone already done.
Maybe it's gonna look a
I
lot
think
darker.
Khepri's
than
is
this
different.
probably,
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna bring us back to cams really quick, and I will
That's
pull,
Amas.
That's Amas.
That's Amas.
That's what
that
Lenny
makes
says,
sense.
Amas,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will make sure the actual one gets in there.
Yeah. And back to the laptop. Scary Bug, Shadow Khepri for your Ascension pass here. The red eyes are.
I exclusively played green Khepri in SMITE
Really?
1,
Yeah.
so no, I've been gravitating more towards Shadow Khepri or Shadow Onyx and Opal are all acceptable options for me.
Cool. And then God's Revived, of course, is the buy-in. First tracker.
That's an amazing.
You got to
tracker.
have that
yeah,
one.
that one's just too good.
Got your clap.
That's
of
a great
course.
clap.
It's iconic. And then you've got your objectives, your assists, and the amount the sun has moved after hitting gods with Rising Dawn.
It's an interesting one.
it's
It's just it's a fun distance tracker. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of accuracy and then a bit of also like proximity.
You got your Onyx, and I'm excited for Opal here. Looks great.
Yeah, that's cool. This emote I think is my favorite
All right.
since
You
Flat
ready for it?
Sobek.
It's so good.
It's the,
That's great.
Yeah, get behind me and the little goofy Neath.
Oh, that is great. I love that.
Someone in chat says no res tracker ? We just showed the res.
Yeah,
tracker.
it's on the buy-in.
yeah.
Minutes ago,
The very
seconds
first
ago.
one. Yep. But yeah, this global emote is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
The Khepri is always the friend protecting you. Get behind
course.
me. Yeah, really good.
And title is Dawnbringer.
Sick title.
You got your God kills, your badge. Radiant Khepri.
Ooh.
Looking shiny.
Even more shiny.
I know, right?
It's hard for the gods that are like kind of radiant skin themed in their default, but this one really still nails it.
Yeah, this one looks great. And then, oh, I love this one. You've got your gem encrusted card effects here. Little.
Oh, the little crab, the little crab
Little
claw.
Khepri
I have
claws
seen
coming
that
up.
one actually. I knew about that one. I knew that was the Khepri one.
I like the
I remember
sand
previewing
effects.
that one.
Yeah, that one looks great.
The little bug claw though is really funny.
Yeah. Someone in chat says I need that immediately. So do I, my friend.
It
I.
fits Khepri really well.
Yep.
All right, and then back to cams really quick, and we will look at Nem. Go to mastery. Boom, boom, boom.
This one's good too.
Yeah, that's very good.
This one you'll get a little better look at her model changes as well,
Yep.
which we already posted and stuff like that. But the changes to her clothing and her, just had a actual model update across the board.
Yeah.
It looks great.
So you've got your Shadow Nemesis here, and then your tracker total number of enemy gods killed while they were affected by divine judgment.
I love the enemies judged
Yes.
title for that too, though. That's good.
That's just the default way to play Nem.
Got your
Alt and then take
clap,
him down.
objectives, assists, then second unique tracker, total damage dealt with retribution. Retribution executed. That's another sick tracker
Yes.
name. Then we've got our
I did get a kill with the shield
really
in
nice.
playtest the other day. Someone was running away really low, and you like pop it and stand in there deployable,
Right.
whatever, and it's like it was so funny.
That's great. You got your Onyx. Oh,
Onyx looks sick. Opal,
Oh,
looks
Opal
sick.
looks
Opal
sick.
looks good.
Oh, I love the details on the sword here
Yeah.
for that one. And then global emote, judgment.
This is the sort of plotting
Yeah.
emotion, right? And this, everybody knows these. These
It's
are
great.
A lot of these are meme references
Oh,
or
absolutely.
other emoji references, etc. But yeah, this one just Nemesis worked out really well for that one. Yeah, it's like a little bit. I've got the trade deal vibes to it too.
Vengeance is the title. That's a nice one-word title. I like that one.
I like just
God
mixing up
kills.
the titles. Like
Right,
we're getting some
yeah.
really unique ones and different ones, which is great.
And then Radiant Nemesis.
Ooh.
That's sick.
Yeah,
That's
this one is
super
great.
clean.
And the card effects here. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
That's dope.
And you know what I like about this one is like it work on anyone.
Yeah.
You can equip this to anyone and it'll fit. It's just very cool.
Yeah, this one looks sick. Oh, sweet.
Purple fire. I'm a sucker for purple fire in
Hey,
games. Like
right?
give me anyone who's got that type of thing, and I'm like I'm in.
Oh, that's sick. Sweet. Well, that is our God Showcase for Titan Talk. We got a few minutes left. We want to knock out some Q&A.
Yeah, let's do a little Q&A.
Let's go. What's going on,
Lots of
chat?
questions we're
Yeah.
cooking through while we were talking about.
What do y'all want to
gods.
talk about today?
I saw one repeatedly request about item store multi-filtering, and that is a feature that we want to bring back.
Yeah.
It was specifically removed because the current UI didn't support it very well, and you would get kind of stuck. But we're going to try to bring that back in the future.
Yeah. And we did. I did mention to the UI team yesterday that there is a clearing filters thing that is different between Smite 1 and Smite 2, where if you start typing in search in Smite 1, it'll clear your filters you have checked. And if you click a filter, it will clear what you're searching for. So looking into that, definitely trying to continue to make that a better experience, even if we don't have multi-filtering.
Yeah, thank you. Man, the questions are flying fast. I don't know. You
I
want
know,
me to
right? Yeah,
snag whichever ones I can, or do you want to throw them to
man.
me? Who's my favorite god in the first 50? Probably Sobek. Although Sobek, my first main, I love Amaterasu. That's not really a useful question. I love Anubis as well.
Yeah.
What are Izanami model changes like? I saw there was a bunch of questions. This one's being spammed. It's like looks like it's already being copy-pasted here. Yeah. It's kind of a bit of what we cited earlier. Like, we know that some of the vocal community wanted Izanami. They just envisioned Izanami being something completely different, right? And that's totally valid. But in the spirit of what we're doing in Smite 2, and even in Smite, we're not changing characters' core identity, right? We're not doing core ability reworks for these types of characters right now. They're very successful characters, they'll be loved characters. Reworks are getting really mixed reviews. Yeah. That's why we're doing what we're calling the plus ones, right? We're adding these new deep depth features, skill features, quality of life features instead of reworking things. Models a similar situation. Yeah. Izanami is our Smite Izanami. We like how she looks, how she works. She has a huge fan base that follows it. I totally understand what people might want something different, but it's just not our goals here.
Yeah.
It's just not part of the process, really.
If a character is incredibly popular and beloved by a lot of the community, I know there's a part of the community that doesn't like her representation, but we're not going to change them in a way that then alienates the large percentage of the player base that does like them.
I remember the exact moment this happens. I mean, I remember when we did the Izanami release and we showed some very early concepts that had extremely different body types, super long horror arms, tentacles, all sorts of crazy stuff, which I totally understand could have been exciting. That's just, those are essentially would have been completely different characters in every fundamental way, from the rigging and animation and modeling to even how we would have designed the abilities in the kit. That's just not her. So there was no real serious consideration to heavily rework her. Even the characters that are getting some little remodel, like Nemesis had a lot of model work done to her. She's still very recognizably Nemesis. Absolutely. A lot of the key elements come through. It was about polish and quality and cleaning up some things, but the actual tone and theme and structure didn't change. I feel like what I'm getting from these types of comments is people wanting more to be changed, right?
Yeah.
Than that. Yeah. So I think that's what we'll say about that one. Let's see. Trying to look for more questions I can't answer that are moving fast.
I will answer this one because this has come up a couple times and I haven't answered before. Yeah. When is Kali getting released? Why did you all delay her? Data mining is not 100% accurate. Yes. Like sometimes we're working on something and then we decide to go in a different direction. Sometimes we test a lot of things that will never see the light of day. Yeah. And we are doing absolutely zero to hide anything from data mining right now because that would slow us down and we don't want to be slowed down.
There are multiple things that have been data mined in very early developer experimental states that people are just assuming, oh, yep, that's going to be the feature exactly like that. It's going to change a lot along the way.
So I would say, Kali is a god that we've done a little bit of work on. As we were working on her, I think we realized that there were a couple features that she had that were going to be harder to implement. And also the community was very vocal on a lot of polls about Kali being
vocally negative,
not one of the most desired gods for the first few gods that we bring over, right? So when we're combining that with our let's get to 50 as quickly as we can with a roster that the vast majority of players want, we temporarily push her a little bit further back. You're not gonna be waiting forever for her or anything. But we were working on her a little bit, but I don't think it was as far along as data mining thinks it is. And we were not on the verge of shipping her or anything.
And generally we're not really giving a lot of specifics about upcoming gods, right? Except for the ones we know are really coming on. We're ready to confirm it and start teasing it. But beyond that, we're not really talking about that too much. But that's something we can revisit again in the future. Right now, we're just making them work. And we picked a very specific order so we could get a really strong, fun, diverse comp at a quick pace.
This is a weird one, which is probably a bug that we should look into. Is Ares Chain supposed to block Donza ult?
Ares Chains?
Like
I would need more information
Yes.
on what part's being blocked. Like he crashes into it and
if he
explodes.
crashes into it,
the
that's
chain.
probably
Yeah.
a
That's
bug.
definitely a bug. If he's chained and then can't alt because of like a cripple, that would
yeah.
also be a bug. Ultimates usually ignore those
So probably
because he doesn't even move
can't
all
use
the time.
alt. Can't use alt. So because he's crippled, he can't alt.
I would say that's a bug.
Probably a bug. So we can take a look at that.
Probably. I mean, I would check with I check in SMITE 1 if that's the case. In
Right,
some
yeah.
cases, we went through and things like Scylla can fire Sentinel, but not refire to travel to Sentinel while crippled. Danza's not that different. He can fire his ult, but he might be not allowed to ride his ult while crippled. I could imagine a design justification where that would be intended. It still doesn't sound intended to me, though. I saw another question. I was going to answer, and now I forgot about what it was. A lot of people asking about Conquest bans.
Yes.
Additional bans. It is something we're actively following, reviewing, discussing. We don't want to add more bans until it's absolutely necessary. The current, we've seen the discussion for a lot of people requesting more bans already, but we want there to be a maximum amount of viable gods, diverse roles to pick. And with a small god pool, adding more bans kind of works against that directly. Oftentimes we see people request more bans specifically as a outlet for balance complaints. Essentially, when they say we need more bans, what they're actually saying is you need to nerf the best gods more. So we're already rapidly balancing, rapidly nerfing. If you feel like you need more bans, instead replace that sentence and tell me who you want us to nerf so you don't have to ban them. That is the preferred solution right now. We want more gods available in the game, and we'd be much more better off nerfing the top end than adding more bans. But we will certainly be ready to open it up to our, an increase to 2 per team. I'd say in the coming months. It could be sooner. If sentiment changes, could be early next year. It's definitely something that's going to be coming.
Int Jungle Starter is something I saw you had a thread about on Slack this morning. I don't know if there's
I was
anything we can
blueprinting
share
it
yet.
right before I came to the
Okay,
session.
so what are we looking at there?
So I'm currently in progress of blueprinting a setup where instead of making an int jungle starter, going to make Boomba's, all of 4 Boomba's items, the 2 starters and the 2 upgrades, will not have any int or strength as a default stat. Instead, they will have a function on them that, depending on if you're building more int from items or more strength for items, they will grant you the int or strength. So essentially, they're just going to become flex items. So you can buy Boomba's dagger, and if you buy an int tier 1, it'll give you int. If you buy Boomba's dagger and buy an axe, it'll give you strength. So you can, and then you can even change it at any time. If you're building sort of a hybrid build, it will change depending on whichever one you have more of. And then that way, all 4 jungle items will be immediately available to everybody in that sense, which we thought was a better solution than adding either duplicated copies, which would functionally do the same thing, just clutter the store, or we'd have to completely remake all new items, which would need new functions. They would have more balance concerns. I mean, that could be fun, but right now we're trying I'm doing this in between gods, while I'm waiting on something. So we don't have time to do all of that stuff all right now. So yeah, the plan is to have the flex jungle items. I'll hope to finish and submit that today. And then, as long as it's not bugged all up, we'll be able to ship it out soon.
There's a question here. Win anti-heal item for ADC. One of the good things about our new component system is that you can just buy the tier 1 anti-heal item for 400 gold and just keep doing whatever the hell else you wanted to do with your build. And if you want to get more anti-heal, you can just upgrade that to the tier 2 for another 400 gold. So there's not a dedicated item that you would have in your finished build right now, I believe, that has anti-heal.
You would
on
just
it.
build brawlers.
Yeah, I guess you build brawlers. But
It's not bad for carries,
Yeah.
and maybe not ideal.
But I think that you can, so you could build brawlers, or else you can just build
divine.
the tier 1 or the tier 2 for the short term, and yeah, I've heard about that minimap PS5 issue. I think Apwash was sending us screenshots of that. Something we're definitely looking into.
Let's see.
And also this, do we have any news on console being able to free ping the map? We were talking a lot about just pinging in general yesterday. So it's a subject that we're looking into. We know that it's something that console can't do right now, and something we're aware of. I don't really have an update on it beyond we were talking about it yesterday.
We're not going to spoil anything about the next gods. We'll talk about them soon.
Yes. Everything in due time, chat.
We need animated. No, I don't know what that Okay, we're still. Can we get the ability to click during VGS back?
Yes, so that was part of
That's
the
part of
ping
the ping
stuff
thing.
that we
Okay,
were talking
sorry.
about
Yeah,
yesterday,
yeah.
right? So
That is in progress,
yes,
essentially.
Yes, and interestingly, there is a PC and console disparity there, where on console, if you pull the ping trigger while you have VGS open, it will always just do the basic default ping, and it won't say like enemy spotted and change the color of the ping. So console currently in SMITE 1 can only do the white 3D ping, the generic 3D ping, whereas PC has a blue one, an orange one, and a red one, and the white one. And then the other interesting thing that console can do that PC can't is console can ping the minimap red, and PC can only ping the minimap white and yellow. So
I assume in SMITE 2 we will find a way to reconcile
yes.
all of these features.
I have a doc that pitches how we reconcile all of that.
It's just
for SMITE
been a pain to go sort back through.
Yes,
And it's been
yes.
tough to field bug reports because people have been sometimes too vague, and we have to go dig through like which parts are they really wanting and needing. So yeah, I'm glad we've got a plan going together for that.
Yeah.
How do you work on God's design? How do you make an original character appealing while respecting incorporating historical elements of the character? I mean, that's a good question. I was kind of spoke to originally. Like the +1 philosophy has really been the way we've done that. No reworks, or no reworks for now. No more reworks. Eventually, we'll get to the part of the God roster where people are probably going to want more reworks.
Right.
But even then, it'll be risky. So in general, we're trying not to do reworks. We're trying to add additional features that add depth, add skill expression, or improve quality of life or clarity. And trying to keep everything else the same. And when I mean the same, I mean really the same. And that means, you know, we're doing frame by frame comparisons, really narrow stuff. Obviously there's some really nice art updates like the particle effects and the ability icons, but for most part, range, radiuses, speeds, timings, and stuff like that are all intended to be the same, because that's really important. I mean, the reason we're doing that is because we've been testing this with y'all, and that's what people have overwhelmingly preferred.
Yeah. This person says, what if people like the rework? Y'all just going to listen to people that don't like the rework?
Yes.
We have never successfully, other than Loki.
Even Loki, it's been an extremely skewed amount, right?
Yes.
There is there was always a small number of people who've liked every rework. I would not ever say it's been the majority.
Yeah.
Ever. Even with Loki, a lot of people were upset. People who don't play Loki being happy that Loki players are upset also doesn't really count as a net positive, but it did at the time because there was other problems going on. And the Loki rework was exceptionally good. But yeah, reworks they don't really play out like that.
Cool. Well, we are past 2, so it's time for one more
final question.
So we just choose one question. Everybody chooses one question to answer. And
Okay. Well,
Yeah, it's how we wrap it up every day.
Yeah.
I see. Thank you. I've been too busy working these gods to listen and watch our own.
Titan Talk, man. No.
We make so many
one-
shows
I
now
know,
too.
yeah.
I can't even watch them all. It's like so much. It's so much to do. Well, I mean, you come back to me at the end, I suppose.
Oh.
Or if there's one you think that it would be better fit for me, throw it to me.
I will address this one real quick, and I might pick another one because that's the way I usually do this. Was the visual of the mouse cursor fixed on console? We're looking into it. It seems to actually be kind of a weird bug, but we can definitely reproduce it, and the right people internally are aware of it. So it's on the list to be fixed. Is it going to be fixed in the next update? Not sure, but it's definitely on the list to be fixed. Not too many people are using mouse on console currently, but definitely still a priority for us to fix.
What do you got, Isaiah? I'm
am
still
looking
scanning.
here. Any news on a hunter with a multi-auto attack chain like Charybdis or Apollo? Their auto chain feels very unique, and it would be a nice addition to SMITE 2 to make hunters feel more unique. I'm thinking. I don't think we have anything currently in the first 50 with that specific feature. We do have some exciting hunters down the line. We've already talked about
Heimdall also did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we've already talked about Uhl joining the roster, and I've seen some other community requested hunters that I know are in the first 50 of that.
Back again.
So no, not in the first 50, but definitely down the line for sure.
So what is another more Ajax-y question? Let's see. I don't know. This one's kind of interesting. Are you all scared to let items that break the rules be strong? And I mean, I would say no, we're not. But we, again, have a very community-focused balance approach. So if we've nerfed items like that, it's because y'all told us to. In most cases. In many cases, the design team is open to pushing those things as hard as possible until the community starts to tell us, okay, you need to back off, right? So we're generally open to making those. And when you're going through a lot of rapid balance for specific stats and specific metrics, you're going to sometimes take some collateral damage in that regard. Like, oh, it doesn't really matter. We know that this is a fun mechanic. We wish it could be better, but this archetype's got to get hit. It just has to happen. So that happens. But that's when we have, new seasons or bigger updates where we can kind of go through a lot of that stuff, reset it, more have a specific curation effect. I think there's another balance patch coming up if it's not been revealed yet. This one might have already been revealed about lowering the cooldowns of a couple active items that have very long cooldowns. Are going to get much shorter cooldowns. So that is a way to kind of, prove that we're on board with this type of thing, and we've got some changes coming that are going to do that. Yeah. So higher frequency, maybe not the same as higher power, but along the same lines, we are intentionally trying to bring back some of that power in those unique effects, those rule-breaking effects, now that we've maybe sorted out some of the other statistical or just strength and int value issues. Okay, is that it for our last question then?
Killgoon, you want to take another one, or
nothing's jumped out at me today?
Any more?
I will mention
Ajax.
After individually set to normal cast, feels bad on PS5. Yes, I also have been talking to the UI team about that. That's on their list to fix. So that is something that we are working on. Cool.
I love how you are so in tune with these very specific, like, only on this god, on this platform, does this issue occur. No, yes. It's been a great help having Killgoon go through those types of issues while the designers are cranking away on gods. Let's see, anything else? Do you plan to stop releasing Greek gods?
Yeah, that's a funny one because
why would we?
There's a percentage of the player base that would be like thrilled if SMITE was nothing but Greek gods, right? Because Greek gods are generally some of the most popular ones and some of the best known ones in like Western culture, right? Which is one of the reasons why we have so many Greek and Roman gods. And it's very easy to fall into the trap of like, if you just look at like who the most popular gods are and who have the most name recognition, it's almost always just put more Greek and Roman gods into the game. But we don't want to do that because part of what makes SMITE great is the diversity of all the different gods and all the different pantheons and how they interact with each other. So it's definitely something that we're aware of, that there's a lot of Greek gods, but it's something that we're probably going to keep doing at some pace just because they're so well known. Yeah. I think we do push ourselves to make sure we have a diverse roster of different pantheons, but just we're going to hit big names when we have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, very true. Thoughts on anti-heal? It seems not consistent. As far as I know, mathematically it is. Maybe the way it's applied, or maybe there needs to be additional sources of it. But Sobek and Bacchus can also be picked to improve that if you're worried about healers.
And then final question, because we really should wrap it up, is trios and ranked win. I believe that's still targeting for end of the week, maybe early next week, but end of the week I think is what Max is targeting. Cool. So.
All right, gents. Well, thanks so much for hanging out on the Wednesday edition of Titan Talk. Yeah. Super excited for Nemesis, Izanami, and Khepri to join the roster next week. If you're interested in flash testing chat, join discord.gg/smite game. Be on the lookout for an announcement, hopefully later on this afternoon, for you to be able to get in on that action. And we've opened up content creation restrictions on that. So if you want to stream the flash test, if you want to make YouTube videos about the flash tests, you're more than welcome to do so.
But also, please let us know if you find any bugs, because that's the point of these things.
Yeah, bugs, feedback, balance feedback has been super helpful. I mean, I see a lot of, I'm not answering all the questions, but I see a lot of balance-related suggestions in the chat. I know the design team is following those, so thank you for bringing them up, and we will definitely consider it.
Cool. All right, chat. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will see you on Friday for the last Titan Talk of the week.
Yeah.
And hope everyone has a great rest of the day. But until then, we'll see you on the battleground.
Thanks.
Peace.